Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. We've got a legendary show today with a couple of guys to talk Champions League. We got NBA, UFC, a little bit of NFL chatter, and I'll have a golf pick for you as we have the Worldwide Technology Championship starting tomorrow. Maybe some first-round leaders as well. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned and find out. Let's tune into how we did yesterday. A lot of winning recap screens over the last 2 weeks. This is not one of them. 3 wins, 4 losses. A shout out to Chip. He loses Miami +3, but I watched that entire game. I thought Miami was the better team. Kind of a broken play at the end of that game. A kickoff return in the second half by Ohio. Miami ends up getting clipped, losing by 4 there. Shout out to the SportsLine Picks, and that includes producer Ben with the Clippers first quarter +2.5. Ben is as sharp as they come. Shout out to him, but 3 and 4, we want to do better than that. We've got the crew to do it. Let's bring in the stars of the show. That includes you, Eric David, Steve Folkerts, Christian Hastings, Jason Pogwist is in the chat. Martez Denny, haven't seen him. We see right now Martin Green, Buckets, Mikey B, and Danny Brasco. Buckets, I'm going to start with you. You've got your counterpart on the show, which I know intimidates you quite a bit, but it must mean we've got a big soccer day ahead of us.
It either means that it kind of gives off disappointed dad vibes to me. I had a poor betting day yesterday, win on 1 and 2. So now you bring the good football guy in to show you how it's done. So it's a little intimidating, but anytime I get to share the screen with the guru, I know it's going to be a good day.
Martin, he said the quiet part out loud. That's on him. It's not on me. Either way, we're happy to have you on the show. We haven't seen you in a few weeks. Again, it's a big setup. It's a big Champions League. We're still in the group stage. Correct me if I'm wrong. How you feeling today?
Yeah, delighted to be here. Thank you, Sia. I think Arsenal have won about 12 games in a row since I was last on, so I hope they don't start losing now that I'm back. But yeah, lots of exciting soccer to talk about. We've got a full slate of Champions League action. Teams like Barcelona, Chelsea, Manchester City, all in action. So yeah, we should have some good picks for you guys.
Katie Taylor in the chat. Joel Embiid over, what was it, 18.5 points or 18 points, something like that. She had that. She was in the SportsLine Discord. A lot of people, including Aaron Taylor, some of the people I was seeing in there, celebrating that pick. Speaking of celebrating, Mikey B, the Chicago Bulls, you had a win total over for them, but I'm sure you didn't anticipate this type of start. Talk to me.
Yeah, Joel Embiid, who cares if he hits his overs? The Bulls beat him. The Bulls beat the 76ers, came back from 24 points down. Vucevic with the clutch corner three-pointer. The Chicago Bulls, Oklahoma City Thunder NBA Finals is coming. Get ready.
Well, that sounded like a little much. Danny Brasco, we've got some UFC that you're prepared for this weekend. I'll tell you right now, I've got a lot of leans in the NFL for Thursday Night Football. No official plays today. You know, tomorrow we do that Thursday Night Football. We really lean into it. I'm just curious. I know you have UFC. Have you looked at the NFL Thursday Night Football game at all?
I have, and I'm really wanting to just be gross and play the Raiders +10 if you can still find a 10 out there. But I'm having just fears of doing it. Like, you don't want to be sharp and watch the Raiders lose by 40 and then sit there with a ticket and say, well, it was the right bet. Like, I just don't feel like doing that. So I may stay away altogether. I was high on Brock Bowers last week. He went over absolutely everything you could have bet him. Now the price has gone up on Bowers. So I don't know if it's available to bet anything him there, really with those inflated lines. So I decided to come in with some UFC Fight Night picks on Wednesday. We've been beating lines. These Wednesday early look picks have been good. That's what I'll focus on today. See ya.
I'll tell you what, if you have a question about Thursday Night Football, I mean, I've dug in pretty good. We're obviously tomorrow is like the time for questions. But speaking of taking the Raiders, Brasco, and we'll get into soccer picks in just a second to start off the show. I don't have any faith in Geno Smith in garbage time against the Denver Broncos on the road, no less, even with Brock Bowers back. No Jacoby Myers, obviously, he got shipped out of town. With that said, one of the props I'm looking at that I might make official today and maybe bring on the show tomorrow is a Geno Smith completions prop. Now, you might be saying, oh my gosh, like efficiency, like why are we looking at efficiency? Why wouldn't you just take attempts? I do think the middle of the field with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer like opens things up a little bit. And I do think in garbage time, you could see a fourth quarter with slightly softer coverage, slightly. It is Denver at the end of the day, where he gets 6 or 7 completions just in the fourth quarter. So what do I need? I need 12 or 13 in the first 3. That's something I'm strongly considering, along with a lot of other leans that I might bring up on the show. Any reaction to that, Brasco?
Yeah, I'm also looking at the total 42.5. We talked about this with Mike McClure a lot, and the number 43, 44, those are super key. I've said that 45 feels like a soft total now. These 42 and 45 numbers kind of feel like totals of the past where they're not so key anymore. So I'm thinking over. I'm thinking garbage time. I like your look on Geno Smith, and I think there could be points in this game.
Yeah, a lot of leans. We're going to talk about a lot of them tomorrow, but I don't know if you have questions about it today. We can always answer those. We certainly have soccer questions we can answer, NBA, UFC, and PGA buckets. Speaking of soccer, this is my first speaking of the show. Over under is 4.5. Talk to me about some Champions League.
I'm a little bit nervous in my Champions League plays because I know that Martin and I are on the same game, but with different angles. So we got to hope for a very specific scoreline in this one. I'm looking at the matchup between Karabakh, the Azerbaijani champions, taking on Chelsea, a team that we've all heard of. Now, Chelsea should win this game. They should win this game fairly easily. I'm hoping for a 3-1, maybe even a 4-1 kind of scoreline. But Karabakh, specifically when they play at home, are a team that are good enough for at least a goal against any European opponent. They have looked tremendous so far in this competition, and they have always scored at home in these big games. So I think they're going to get a goal here, which is why I'm leaning towards BTTS. They've got good striking. They've got good atmosphere. This is a team that will be chuffed, I think is the word, Martin, if I'm saying this right, to welcome Chelsea to the Azerbaijani side. The travel is a bit of a pain here. Chelsea are the better side. They should win, but Chelsea defensively are struggling, and Karabakh are good enough to get one at home. For my second bet, I'm looking at Club Brugge versus Barcelona, and I'm taking over 3.5 goals. I don't want to overthink this one. I don't want to try to make it fancy by adding both teams to score, by adding, Lamine Yamal to score or assist. I just want to take a straight over. I want to sit back and I want to enjoy the action. If you look at how Barcelona are playing football right now, this is a team that goes for goals no matter what. Hansi Flick is the kind of manager that if this team is up 2-0 at halftime, he's yelling at them in the locker room saying, why is it not 3-0? Why is it not 4-0? This is a team that is going to go for 90 minutes and that has the backups to make the super subs they need in the 60th minute. Club Brugge at home, again, good enough to score a goal here. Barcelona defensively, not the best. If you look at Barcelona's last 8 fixtures, both teams have scored over 2.5 have hit in all 8 of these. Over 3.5 goals have hit, over 6.5 goals have hit. This is an offensive powerhouse, and I love to just bet goals and not really care what else happens in this match.
All right. Well, we've got more on that first game from Martin Green, which we'll hear about because we have some questions on that game, which I guess we'll get to, Martin, after you go, because you might answer some of those questions. Let's transition, though, from soccer to the hardwood. Mikey B, we've got 2 props. We've got points props, and they're fun overs. Talk to me about Pascal Siakam and Stefan Castle.
All right, first we're going to do Pascal Siakam over 26.5 points. No one has dealt with more injuries this season than the Pacers. Their depth chart is so decimated that Siakam has had to do a lot of scoring. His usage rate is up to 30.7%. That's allowed him to score at least 27 points in 4 of his last 5 games. The Nets' worst defensive rating in the league. The concern with the Nets is taking overs on superstars for the opposing team because the Nets are so bad, they often get blown out. However, the Pacers are in such bad shape on the injury front here. I think Siakam plays his normal allotment of minutes and goes over 26.5 points. And then the Spurs game, Stephen Castle over 18.5 points. This has gone to 19.5 in some spots. Still like the over. The Spurs have played this entire season without De'Aaron Fox, and now Dylan Harper is also out. He's going to be out multiple weeks with a calf injury. Even with Harper in the fold, we've got Castle scoring at least 21 points in 4 of their 6 games. His shooting has gone up a lot this year. He's up to 55.4% from the field. I think he plays a lot of minutes, hefty usage rate, and goes over 18.5 and 19.5 points against the Lakers.
All right, we've got a question from Katie Taylor, and I think this is one to get to right now because I think Karl Anthony Towns, this has nothing to do with your picks, Mikey B, but I'm pretty sure he was downgraded to questionable like an hour ago. And she's saying PRA 36.5, he's going against his old team, minus 110. Did you see that cat news and any thoughts there?
Yeah, I did see I think he's listed as questionable. He's been on the injury report a lot this year. He has mostly played through it. There's a lot of other games tonight. Let's stay away from this one.
All right. Let's see. Better top 20 golf bet, Howie or Higo? That's a really good question. My gut tells me Higo, Scott Edwards, but I think they're both decent top 20 bets, which leads me to, let me just get my golf pick out of the way, give you all some first round leaders, and then we're going to get to, we got more soccer, we got UFC, and we got a lot of your questions to answer as well. I'm going to go with Pearson Coody This is a 3-ball. Pearson Coody, plus 100 is the best number. I believe FanDuel and BetMGM have the plus 100 over Hoshino and Sapin. So that's Frankie Sapin and Rikuya Hoshino. This is a case where I'd rather isolate one player here, but I don't think the way Hoshino's been playing, I don't think he's really going to factor into this 3-ball. By the way, this is tomorrow afternoon. It's actually after the early edge starts. So you have plenty of time to put this in. Hoshino just hasn't been playing good golf, and he's certainly not the caliber of golfer that Pearson Coody is. As far as Sapin, he hasn't been playing very well either, but he is at least a guy that people project to be pretty good on the PGA Tour. I at least think he has the possibility to be pretty good, but he hasn't shown it. You know who has shown it is Pearson Coody, especially over the last few tournaments, both on the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour. He has really shown up lately. Appears he's regained his form a little bit from when he first got onto the PGA Tour a couple of years back. I will take Pearson Coody plus 100 in a 3-ball over Hoshino and Sapin. By the way, my first round leaders from the early wedge last night, which you can still watch. It's still in your podcast feed and on the SportsLine YouTube channel. It is Jacob Bridgman at 50-1. It is Nico Echeverria at 50-1. Is William Mao at 65-1 and Sammy Valimaki at 90-1. Those are my 4 first-round leaders for the Worldwide Technology Championship. All right, let's get to Buckets. You seem displeased with my first-round leader picks.
No, I why? I loved them.
You were frowning. You were like, I hate those picks.
Oh, I think that's just my face.
It might be your face.
You know why I see it? It's because he didn't get his Coody shot. Come on, has any golf announcer made that yet? That's too easy. It's money.
That's too easy.
Money.
Do you remember, the Jamie Kennedy MTV thing with the Coody shot, circle, circle, dot, dot? Those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, check it out with Bob Saget. I think there's just a lot of funny stuff out there on the internet. Okay, let's get to a BetMGM promo. There's the smile. That's a kind of an awkward smile from Buckets. BetMGM players will receive an NBA odds boost. Just make any NBA bet and add to your bet slip to activate the token. If you win, you'll receive extra winnings and unrestricted bonus dollars only at BetMGM. SportsLine picks. We got a college football pick for tonight. We're going with Ball State money line, minus 130. They're like a 1.5 point favorite. Matt Severance is going to take that away. He's just going to take the money line. He's going to pay the minus 130 to see it. And then we've got Bruce Marshall with the Columbus Blue Jackets money line, minus 108. A short dog there. We're going to take the Blue Jackets money line, minus 108 tonight in the NHL. All right, we got a lot more to get to. More soccer, more UFC, more of your questions and comments, and Buckets awkward smiles coming up right after this message from our partners.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But thanks to CBS Sports, you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
We're back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM.
Don't know what to do anymore.
Make it legendary. Oh, that was beautiful. You got to watch us on YouTube to see all the reactions and images coming from Buckets. Let's see. Let's go to Martin. Let's go to you next. Nikesh, by the way, says, how about them Bulls? Giddy up. Giddey up. Martin Green, Buckets previewed that you probably have a play on this Chelsea game as well. So talk to me about your play. And it looks like you've got a money line parlay as well.
That's correct, Sia. Yeah, I'm going for Chelsea minus 1.25 in this game. I think they should be too strong for Karabag when the teams meet in Baku, Azerbaijan. They've won 6 of their last 7 games in all competitions. They thumped Ajax 5-1 in their last Champions League match. So they're really surging with momentum right now. Karabag have done well in this competition so far. I think they've exceeded expectations. They won their first 2 games, but they lost 3-1 to Athletic Club last time out. They now face their sternest challenge yet. They have a dreadful record against English clubs, 7 defeats from 7 games, and they haven't scored in their last 6 matches against English teams. So I think they could be outclassed here. I'm going for Chelsea minus 1.25. I hope for everyone's sake, Chelsea win 3-1 or 4-1 or something like that. Then we all get to profit. And yeah, I'm also going for a moneyline parlay featuring 2 giants of European soccer, Barcelona and Manchester City. Barcelona are missing some key players through injury, but they've been in pretty good form. They've won 8 out of 11 games in the league so far this season. They thrashed Olympiacos 6-1 in their last Champions League game. The defence is a bit weak, but they've got the likes of Yamal, Marcus Rashford, Ferran Torres in attack. I think they should have enough firepower to beat Club Brugge on the road. Man City have a home game against Borussia Dortmund. It does look like a potential banana skin, as Dortmund have scored 12 goals in just 3 games so far in the competition. However, Man City are in really sparkling form right now. Haaland is on fire. He has 26 goals in just 16 games. And he used to play for Dortmund, so I think he'll relish the opportunity to take on his former teammates. I think he'll score in this game, and I think he'll ultimately lead his team to victory. So combining those two for a plus 120 parlay looks great to me.
All right, Martin, there's some questions, very basic questions. There are no bad questions on the early edge, but certainly questions for new soccer bettors. Let's see. Doobie Main, Ramo, and Gen M are just wondering about the 1.25, like minus 1.25, minus 1.5. Is that like, how do you differentiate those?
Oh, so if you go for minus 1.5, the team has to win by at least 2 clear goals, and then you get paid out. If you go for minus 1.25, you get paid out if they win by 2 clear goals, but you only lose half your money if they win by a single goal.
Interesting. So if they only win by 1, you lose half your stake amount in a 1.25 bet?
Yes.
Buckets, follow up.
Just to jump in here, a lot of books in the States don't have, that's called an Asian handicap. They might not have those lines available. So Martin, just to help people out, if they don't have the 1.25, would you take minus 1.5, or is that too much to risk there?
Yeah, I would go with minus 1.5. I like 1.25 because it just gives me that extra degree of insurance, but I would go for minus 1.5. And I do know that at least 3 of the legal sports betting sites in the US offer Asian handicaps. I won't name names here, but you'll find them pretty. Oh, can I name other sports books on this show? I don't know.
No, you can. I mean, to the extent that people can find bets at other major sports books, absolutely.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if you go to Bet365 or Bet Rivers or anything like powered by Canby, you'll find a bunch of Asian handicaps.
Eric David confirming it is an Asian handicap. We've got Steve Lochner. So people who are new, Buckets and Martin, to soccer, he says this is insanely confusing. It is, because there's so many leagues. It is, I feel like, for like a person trying to get into soccer, they get very intimidated by all the leagues and all like the different names and countries. I mean, we're very, I don't know, we're very like centralized to American sports. I get that. But Buckets, is there anything you can tell people to be like, oh, it's not as intimidating as you think to like find these games, find these leagues?
Go, the search bar on sportsbooks is your best friend. If you can't find a league, a team, and anything, just go to the search bar, because it is complicated. I remember when I first got into soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, the fact that the championship is not the best league in England blew my mind. Like, it took me a while just to learn how all the tiers work in the division. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to utilize the search bar. And it's just, there's so many abbreviations and they're all so unnecessary, but it just takes time. I mean, that's all there is to it.
You know what else is unnecessary? And Brasco, I know you had follow-up. Can we put up It's Adam? Can we put up his statement here? I mean, this is just, we don't need this, Adam. It's complicated. If Buckets gets it, very true. But I don't think we needed that. But you did put 2 and 2 together. It's probably far less intimidating. Buckets, your reaction?
My reaction is a question for Martin. I'm going to completely ignore It's Adam here. Martin, what was the banana peel thing you said during your take? Because I need to use that if that's an actual thing.
So if it's a game that you should really win, but you're playing against a reasonably dangerous opponent, the English call it a potential banana skin, because you could end up slipping on a banana skin and falling over and embarrassing yourself and looking stupid. So, yeah, if you ever think an underdog is going to potentially beat a favorite, you can call it a potential banana skin.
When Martin said that, I was proper gobsmacked, so it took me a second to kind of realize what was going on there.
I'm just chuffed to be here, man.
It's Adam says, sorry, Buckets, I love you. And he was just joking. Joe says, It's Adam is Sia's shadow account, just tooling on Buckets, which is a fair allegation. Danny Brasco, you had, before you give out your UFC picks, you had some follow-up.
I was just going to help people because when I was living in Italy, they had the Asian handicap available, and I was degenerately betting on soccer in these little Win City kiosks. I love that bet because to make it analogous to football, it's like splitting your bet between -3 and -3.5. Say your team won by the field goal, you push that half of it and you lose the -3.5. So it's like splitting your half unit and getting a push condition, basically. That's, I think, a football analogy you can go with.
All right. Pretty solid explanation. There's a lot of stuff you can do in UFC from a betting standpoint as well. And Danny, I've learned that just from doing this show with you. Talk to me about your plays for this weekend.
Yeah, let's go. Let's beat some lines, Sia. This one's already on the move, and it's a favorite that I'm happy to lay the juice on. I like Daniel Marcos to kick things off. One of the first fights on this card at -175. I bet this yesterday. It's already moving up, and I would get it in now because I think it's likely to close closer to -250 because Marcos has a clear striking advantage in this matchup. This is a fight that came together on short notice. Both of their respective opponents, both Marcos and his opponent, Miles Johns, had their opponents drop out of their fights. So now they match up together on about a week's notice. It should happen at catch weight, I believe. And I think it just gives Marcos a big advantage, who's fought a much higher level of competition in the bantamweight division. He's a sharp striker, smooth footwork, very sound defense, nice kick game too at range. And he's fighting a wrestler boxer in Miles Johns, who certainly a tough and experienced fighter with skill. But I feel like he's likely to be chasing Marcos in this one and not being able to cut off his footwork and just kind of getting outpointed, outlanded at range. Johns may be able to take Marcos down, but he's got good grappling defense, 84% takedown defense rate. And his last fight against Montel Jackson, who was just a ranked bantamweight, was a grapple-heavy fight in which Marcos actually landed a couple takedowns, got back to his feet. Really close fight where I think he learned a lot. He can take some of those lessons facing a tough wrestler, boxer in Montel Jackson. Now he faces a similar style, but slightly less talent level. So I think he can style himself on Miles Johns, pull away on the scorecards, win this fight with ease. One of the earlier fights as well in the prelims that I like as an underdog. Give me the tiny tornado. Tisha Pennington here at +155. I feel the odds are too wide in this fight, considering that Pennington, the veteran here, was a +115 underdog against the now champion Mackenzie Dern. She was a +100 underdog against Tabitha Ricci, and she went to split decision against both of those high-level fighters. I felt she deserved both of those wins. That's how it goes in the UFC sometimes, these razor-close decisions. But now she's fighting more of a prospect on the come-up in Denise Gomes. And this should be a fun fight because both fighters thrive using their pressure. They like to move forward. They like to get in their opponent's face, and they like to make them uncomfortable. And it's really going to be who can win that pressure battle. Gomes, good with her dirty boxing in the clinch, likes to muck the fight up, make it dirty. But I think Pennington, who's landed 50-plus significant strikes in 7 straight fights, is likely to win at range, is likely to win the boxing exchanges. And she's great at her scrambles. If Gomes tries to take her down, keep her down, I don't think she's going to be able to do that. So the underdog, who's 36 years old, is super active. I'm not down on her for aging at all. I think she's aging like a fine wine. I think the odds are too wide for the tiny tornado Pennington, who, if she drops round 1, I might look to live bet her as well at even better odds. And finally, this line is definitely going to move. I thought it was a gift. I bet this on DK at -105. Give me Joseph Boppo Morales inside the distance to win by knockout or submission. He is a pressure grappler who puts on a great pace. That's in his second stint with the UFC. And man, he is much improved this time around. He didn't do so well his first time, but came back on the Ultimate Fighter, the reality show tournament. And he went through the toughest competition you could have seen on that show. His wins are really nice over the highest ranked fighter on that show. Ali B submitted him. And then he beat Imanol Rodriguez, a guy that just buzzsawed through his last opponent on the Contender Series. So thinking really highly of Morales now, whose grappling is likely to overwhelm his opponent, Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell just retired recently in a fight. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. He came back because, you know what they say, Sia, you don't want to leave the gym on a missed shot. And he got a win against the journeyman grappler, Jimmy Flick. But Jimmy Flick had Matt Schnell in trouble in that fight. Morales is a whole lot to deal with on the mat. I don't think Schnell's going to be able to handle him. Schnell's 17-9 in his pro career. 8 of those losses came inside the distance. So I think Morales by submission at +175 is a good play, but I'll be safe and take him by KO or sub at -105. This is already -140 on some books, so get it in if you can now, guys.
I also, when I leave the gym, I have to make my final shot. Everybody does that, right? Like even when you're playing on like a fun rim, like in like a bedroom, like something silly, or like throwing paper at a trash can, like a wadded up paper, I have to make my last shot. Is
just for
everybody
big
the same
juju.
way?
Yeah, it's bad vibes if you don't. You got to sync with Kobe.
Exactly. I also say Kobe a lot when I do that. All right, Buckets, I'm sure you do the same. We got soccer questions, so I'm gonna ping this off both of you. If you have NBA questions, I don't think I've seen a ton. If you have NBA questions, we got Mikey B for that. Okay, Philip Terrasa says, on Karabag and Chelsea, both teams to score, and Galatasaray team total over 1.5. What do we think, Buckets and Martin? Buckets, you go first.
I'm going to say that I'm okay with the Galatasaray team total. Ajax at home used to be this big dominant threat that intimidated everyone, but they've looked absolutely abysmal so far in Champions League. 0-3, dead last on the table, only 1 goal scored and 11 conceded in 3 matches. I think frankly, Gala money line at plus 120 is definitely playable, but Gala should be able to get 2 here. Martin, do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. As I said, I'm hoping that Chelsea win 4-1 or 3-1 or something now, so that both of our bets pay off. I think Karabag have been in fine goal scoring form in this season's Champions League, and Chelsea have a lot of defensive injuries, so there is a good chance Karabag score. Chelsea really should score several goals. Galatasaray is a tough one. Ajax are poor this season. Galatasaray have a lot of firepower. Ajax can be pretty good at home though, so there's a danger of that being sort of 1-1. But yeah, I like it.
Bayern Munich and Arsenal have to be favorites to win the Champions League. Who would win it between those two teams? Martin, I'll bounce that off of you first. And is there another team that can get into the mix that is actually worth betting?
I'm gonna have to go with Arsenal for that one. They're top of the league. They are unbeaten in this season's Champions League, and I think just much more defensively solid than Bayern Munich right now. Lost to them a couple of years ago, but I think they could gain revenge if the teams renewed hostilities this season.
Buckets?
So these two teams actually play each other November 26th in the group stage. So we might get that little bit of a teaser into the UCL final, because I do think these are the best 2 squads in the entirety of Europe right now. If Vincent Kompany can keep the momentum of this Bayern Munich squad, and if that front line of Olise, Kane, and Diaz can stay healthy and not get stupid red cards for no reason, then I think that Bayern Munich have a shot. But I'm not betting anyone outside of these two. I think these two are the favorites for good reasons right now.
Brasco, you had something.
I saw Buckets start to raise his shirt. Buckets, is that a Pablo Sanchez backyard baseball shirt?
With his stats listed. Yes,
You're
sir.
my best friend. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hell
The
yeah.
picture of Freya, and I mean, I'm just getting a close-up of Freya with her tongue out, is a really great picture as well. Can we go back to the close-up on Buckets?
I'll grab it for you.
This is an amazing picture.
Oh.
That is amazing. And the headphones are like, because she's a capper, so she's doing a show. Was that the motivation?
Yeah, she does all the work. I'm just her puppet.
I totally get it. Jeff Stenberg. Martin, if I had money that needed laundering, would betting it on Norwich City team total over 1.5 at plus 110 be a good way to do that? I don't like taxes in Sheffield. Wednesday stink. Feels easy. Jeff, you're the best. Martin, your answer.
Always trying to talk Jeff out of criminal activities when I appear on this show, or just risking his whole pension fund on one bet. I don't know. It's a tough game. It's a really tough game. Both of these teams stink. They're both at the very bottom of the championship. Norwich have lost 7 games in a row. Sheffield Wednesday have gone into administration, so they've got no money. They're on the brink of collapse. It's just a really strange game between 2 awful teams. Sheffield Wednesday are literally fighting for survival. These players are fighting for their futures, really. So it's going to be a reasonably tough game. If I had to launder money, I would probably look elsewhere, to be honest, Jeff.
Buckets, any follow-up here?
Not on that, because I'm not getting anywhere near money laundering. I do want to shout out Jeff Stenberg. In the chat yesterday, he said the best bet on the board was Atletico Madrid versus St. Gilloise, both teams to score at plus odds, and that did hit. So, Jeff, keep up the good work. No idea about this play, though. Not touching this one.
Jeff is the comedian of the group here, but like also super sharp. So you can never really tell like if he's joking or not, but usually you should just go ahead and take the pick. Jay Long says Benfica versus Bayer, both teams to score. Buckets
versus Bayer Leverkusen, another German side. Leverkusen is out of their Xabi Alonso era. They just don't look to be at all formidable anymore. They're kind of just getting their butts kicked. I'm not a big fan of how they're playing right now. I'm also not a fan of how Benfica is playing in Champions League. This is one of those games where if it ended 0-0, I wouldn't be shocked. If it ended 4-2, I wouldn't be shocked. So I'm staying off of it personally. Martin, maybe you've got better insight than me, but I just don't trust either side right now.
No, I agree. It's quite hard to work out what's going on with Bayer Leverkusen right now. Most of their players have gone. They're on their 3rd manager or 2nd manager of the season. They're in really bad form. Benfica are now managed by Jose Mourinho, who's a very defensive coach. So I personally don't really like betting on both teams to score when Jose Mourinho is involved. So I'm steering clear of that one too, I'm afraid.
All right. We have a birthday in the chat. We'll get to a couple more questions, including some NBA ones for you, Mikey B. We'll get to the recap screen and just kind of bottle things up. But Joseph Akers, who's been a part of this family for quite some time, it's your birthday. So happy birthday, Joseph. Hope you're having a great start to your day with the Early Edge family. Appreciate you being in here on your birthday. Some people asking about the candy bracket. Did you all know the candy bracket show is tonight at 8 o'clock? Do any of you want to join? Pop on the show. If any of you want to pop on the show, you're more than welcome to. Give your takes, the terrible seeding, the good seeding, your number one overall winner. I can send you the bracket. Buckets, you want to pop on for 10 minutes?
I'll pop on for 5 minutes. I'm not giving that 10 minutes of my time now.
Brasco?
Call my agent.
Martin Green?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
It'll probably also be in the middle of the night. Mikey B?
Yeah, that's kids' bedtime. That's rough. I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally get it. All right, Buckets, I got you for 5 minutes. And Danny, I'll talk to your agent. Let's get to some more questions. Dylan Latimer says OKC -4.5 versus Portland, Mikey.
Dylan, play something else. Second game of a back-to-back set for the Thunder. At this point, I don't know who's going to play, so I wouldn't touch that right now. Let's see when injury reports come out later.
How about Steve Lochner's observation here? He says, Keontae George at 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It's -105. He says he's been over in all but one game this season. What are your thoughts, Mikey?
Yeah, I would lean over there, Steve. The only bit of hesitation here is the Pistons are a very good defensive team because of Osar Thompson. And if he is tasked with guarding Keontae George in this game, it might be one of his worst stat lines. So I would lean over. But as Martin said, we don't want to put one of those money laundering hefty bets on this. Let's do a sprinkle.
All right. Joshua Daves Martin says, what's up, fam? It's my birthday as well. Okay, so Joshua and Joseph, happy birthday. Let's see if we have anything. Mr. Big says, wait, is this a real show? Yeah, it's a real show, 8 o'clock tonight. Won't be on this channel, be on my YouTube channel, but it'll be fun. We'll have some fun, and Buckets is going to stop by. Buckets, go ahead.
I've got a question for Martin about the Inter Milan versus Kairat Almaty matchup. Martin, Kairat Almaty in club history, the entirety the club's been around, have never lost to Inter Milan. Do you think they continue that today?
Have they ever played Inter Milan?
We don't need to get into the logistics of this. The stat is true. They've never lost. Will they lose today?
I've also never lost to Inter Milan, and my local team here has never lost to Inter Milan, but I don't think we could beat them. I think they're about -220,000 or something like that. I think the handicap line's about 3.5 goals. So I think maybe Inter Milan should be able to win that by about 4 clear goals. What do you think?
I like it. No, I think that's well said. Thank you, Martin.
Tyzarbo says, give us some NBA player props. You might be joining us late. We already gave out 2, and we're about to get to the recap screen to show you those. But don't forget, there's a lot more picks, including player props, that will be on SportsLine throughout the pendency of the day going into tonight. So absolutely make sure that you're a SportsLine member. Ben, I know you had a lean that you gave out on the chat. Before we put out the recap screen, did you want to come on and give out that lean? Because people respect your opinion, and if they weren't in the chat and they're listening to the audio version, they might not get. That's not an official play, right? But either way, I do want to hear your lean.
Yeah, it's a system play that I love to go by for the Denver Nuggets, and I love to bet on the Nuggets when they are playing a team who is on the 3rd, 4th, 5th game of a West Conference road trip. And the Heat right now are on their 4th game of a Western Conference road trip. They've gone west. They played in California. Now they're going to Denver. And teams like this that are on their 4th game of this trip, they start getting tired. And now they have to deal with the altitude of Denver. So kind of midway through the first, towards the end of the first, they start slowing down, start breathing a little heavier. So I usually like to take the Nuggets in this scenario in the first quarter. They're -2.5, -115, I think, on DK. So I think that's a bet I'm going to make. I'm just going to make sure about the injuries and stuff, but it's a lean for now. But I do like the Nuggets first quarter. It's a system play. Usually these other teams come in and get tired after a couple games out west, and now they have to deal with playing at a mile high.
Mikey B, the Heat have looked good, but I do respect the analysis here in terms of the system play. Would you like to endorse or eviscerate this one?
Cosign. Bulls fans unite. Boom! Go for it, Ben.
I kind of knew that was coming. All right, Ben, if you don't mind, let's get to the recap screen so we can get everyone properly out of here. Round 1 3-ball. This is tomorrow afternoon. Pearson Coody +100 over Hoshino and Sapin. And don't forget to watch the early wedge. Coody is one of my outrights. Not one of my first-round leaders. He's one of my – I've got 3 primary outrights and 3 sprinkle long shots. So catch that show for the rest of that. Buckets. Karabag versus Chelsea, both teams to score -110. And Club Brugge versus Barcelona, over 3.5 goals, -125. We'll continue with soccer with Martin Green. Chelsea -1.25, -138. And if you forgot what that meant, the -1.25 versus the -1.5, we went over it about 10 minutes into the show. Moneyline parlay, Barcelona plus Man City +120. That one also for Martin Green. We go to the NBA. Let's go back there to the NBA because we've got 2 player props for Mikey B. Pascal Siakam over 26.5 points, -114. Stephon Castle over 18.5 points at -113. UFC this weekend, getting ahead of some of these lines. Daniel Marcos moneyline -175. Pennington moneyline +155. And Morales by KO or submission -105. A couple of SportsLine picks for tonight. NHL, Columbus Blue Jackets moneyline -108. And Ball State moneyline -130. Those 2 from Bruce Marshall and Matt Severance. All right. Liddy says, Barner is a funny dude. Love having Barner on the show. You're going to see a lot more of Mikey B, and hopefully we see a lot more of you, Joe, Brad, Liddy, Scott Sneed, Chris Kish, Jay Long, Mr. Big, Brad Merrill, Taylor DeHart. So many of you in here every single day. Really appreciate you. Bring your friends. It's a great conversation, and it's a great team here we have at the Early Edge. All right, Danny Brasco, Martin Green, Buckets, Mikey B, thanks for joining the show. Ben, thanks for being in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. You're getting a lot of compliments in the chat as well, not just for you being sharp on these picks, but for you running this show. Buckets, would you like to close this out?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's where we were headed. Martin, I'm so happy to see you. We'll see you again very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Buckets and the rest of us, we rest our case.